Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is April 5th, 2025, and Barcelona have squandered a golden opportunity to put an end to this La Liga title race by drawing against Real Betis 1-1 after Real Madrid dropped points against Valencia. This is a post-match live analysis. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the post-match live analysis where we analyze Barcelona matches, usually as soon as they end. But today, I know I'm doing it several hours later. I'm still in Japan. I woke up at 4 a.m. to watch the match. Once the match was over, I was exhausted. I fell asleep again. Now I woke up, I showered, I packed because today I'm going back home. And then I decided to make this quick live so I can comment on today's match between Barcelona and Real Betis. Tomorrow, we'll be back home, so we'll be back to my regularly scheduled videos and regularly scheduled podcasts on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, which, of course, are my favorite days because I get to interact with you lovely people in the comment section. Anyway, so let's dive right into the match because what can I say? Barcelona did squander a golden opportunity today to finish or to put an end to this La Liga title race because earlier today, Real Madrid dropped points. Real Madrid lost their respective match against Valencia 1-2 at the Santiago Bernabeu. It was a total shock. No one expected Valencia to beat Real Madrid, let alone in their own stadium. In fact, Valencia themselves did not expect to win because three, not one, not two, but three of their starting players, including Gaia, their most important player, all had 4 yellow cards the last match, and they all forced the fifth one to get, so they can clear the yellow cards, be suspended for this match against Madrid because they thought there's no way we're going to win. We're going to Bernabeu. We suck this year. We're fighting for not to be relegated. So 3 of their starting players forced their fifth yellow card. They were suspended today thinking, there's no way we're going to win. And Valencia shocked the world when they beat Real Madrid 1-2 with the late goal by Valencia in stoppage time. The referee was doing everything he could to give Madrid extra time. He gave them 6 minutes of stoppage time. The clock ended up going to the 8th minute, to the 98th minute. And hilariously speaking, Valencia ended up the one taking advantage of that, scoring a late goal, 1-2. Real Madrid dropped 3 points, and then came Barcelona's turn. This was Barcelona's turn to put an end to this La Liga title race because had they won against Real Betis, they would have been 6 points ahead of Real Madrid, and with 8 matches left in La Liga, that's a big distance to cover, especially how bad Real Madrid have been all of this season. But unfortunately, it did not happen. It did not work out. Barcelona dropped points, and now we're only 4 points ahead of Real Madrid, giving them a little bit of life. Once again, we're doing this. Once again, we are resuscitating Real Madrid. We did it during the first half of the season. We were 10 points ahead of Real Madrid. And given how bad they've been this season, that could have been the end of La Liga title race back in November. But instead, we went through 2 terrible months. We dropped a lot of points. We resuscitated Madrid. And in fact, they got ahead of us by 7 points. Now we had another chance to knock them out. But once again, we squandered it. And we're only now 4 points ahead of Real Madrid. It's kind of like a boxing match where, you're punching your opponent is dizzy, he's about, one more hit, he gets knocked out, and instead of knocking him out, you're like, all right, hold on, let me give him a second, let me give him some time to breathe, maybe take a sip of water. Okay, you're good, bro. All right, let's keep fighting. It's unfortunate, but what can we do? Now, Barcelona, as far as the match itself, I think the first 20-25 minutes were really good by the team. They were circulating the ball very fast. They were creating chances. They were maintaining possession of the ball. They were transitioning quickly from defense to attack to defense, and therefore came Barcelona's goal. A beautiful play, 3 quick first touch passes that ends up with the ball at Gabi's feet, who, of course, scores a beautiful goal from the angle that he was. A tough shot, but nonetheless, he made it. But then after that, a few minutes later, Real Betis draws because of a horrible defensive mistake by Ronald Araujo. This season, Ronald Araujo is just He's been very disappointing. He's not the same Ronald Araujo from last season. I don't know if it was the injury. I don't know because he was out for so long. But terrible mistake by Ronald Araujo, who instead of jumping and trying to win the ball in the air, is hugging his player. It's like, what are you doing, bro? You are a freaking tall tower. You're tall, you're strong. Defensive air duels are your thing. And what does he do? He does what a small player does. And when I mean small, I mean by stature. A player like Fermin or Gabi should be doing, hugging a much bigger player because there's no way they're going to beat them in the air. Araujo, you don't need to do that, bro. You're just as tall as him. Had you jumped, there was a good chance you would have won the ball. But instead, he hugs the defender. And part of it has to do that he completely lost sight of the ball. If you look at the replay, Araujo's not even looking in the air. He's not looking at the ball. He's hugging the player. He's looking at him. Looks like he wants to make out with him. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Terrible, terrible mistake by Ronald Araujo. A little bit of a mistake of Szczesny too. I think Szczesny was not positioned well. He was under his crossbar. Also, he reacts a little bit late. But the one who's mainly at fault, he's Ronald Araujo. I would say 90% Araujo, 10% Wojciech Szczesny, but nonetheless, it's not Ronald Araujo's fault that we drew this match because we had plenty of time after that to score another goal. We had plenty of opportunities to score another goal, but unfortunately, for some reason or other, the team dropped its level. The first 20, 25 minutes were superb by Barcelona. The rest of the match, not so much. I don't know if it's exhaustion. I don't know if it was nerves, knowing that Real Madrid had dropped points and that this was our chance to finish off or to knock out Madrid out of the race. I don't know what it was, but the team was not good. The ball circulation became really slow. The play became really sluggish. There were a lot of inaccuracies. Pedri, today was not his best match. He was very, very inaccurate with his passing. Part of it has to do with how Real Betis were able to shut him down. Nonetheless, he continued trying. Lamine Yamal creating a lot of danger with his dribbling, with his magic. But unfortunately, his final touch today was off. His decision-making was a little bit off in that last touch, passing when he should have shot it when he should have passed it. His passes were not accurate. Not really good match for Lamine Yamal, but nonetheless, he was trying. So we cannot take that away from him. We cannot say that Lamine Yamal gave up or something. He was trying his ass off. He made some mistakes in his final decision-making, but what do you expect? He's 17 years old, ladies and gentlemen. He still has plenty to learn. So this is also not to blame Lamine Yamal. This is just what I saw happening in the match. Ferran Torres, back to the old Ferran Torres, pretty much non-existent. I don't think Ferran Torres is good on the wings, as we saw today. I think his best position is as a false nine. And of course, with Lamine Yamal not being able to make that final pass, with Ferran Torres completely non-existent, with Pedri being shut down by Real Betis' defense, Lewandowski was also non-existent because, of course, Lewandowski, being the kind of striker that he is, he needs to be fed balls, and there was nowhere to feed him. If you watch every play that Barcelona had in the box or in Real Betis' box, Lewandowski's there in every shot, wide open, arms up, like, hey, guys, pass it to me, but no one would pass it to him. And, of course, with Lamine Yamal, final touch being off, Ferran Torres non-existent, Lewandowski non-existent, Pedri inaccurate, plus being shut down by the defense, Barcelona's attack, which pretty much was completely gone. So Barcelona was not able to score another goal. And again, we squandered a great opportunity to end this La Liga title race. Now, some players that I want to talk about. Alejandro Balde, not a good match today. Not a good match whatsoever. He lost a lot of balls. He wasn't as good defensively either. Same thing with Pedri and Lamine. His passes were very inaccurate. But this is not to, of course, knock down Alejandro Balde, who's been having a spectacular season. But today, simply, it was not his day. Ronald Araujo, already mentioned it. Terrible, terrible mistake. What the hell were you thinking? But anyways, let's move on. Frankie de Jong, back to his old self. Almost non-existent Frankie de Jong. This was a match for Frankie de Jong to take over the midfield, to establish his dominance, to say, I'm here to make a difference. Did not see it. Also, Rafinha. Rafinha's starting to worry me a little bit. Ever since he came back from the international break, he hasn't been the same Rafinha. I don't know if it's exhaustion. I don't know if it's mental tiredness because, all that he went through with his statements before the Argentina match, then getting destroyed by Argentina 4-1, then all the taunting that he had to suffer from Argentina fans and Argentina players. I don't know what it is, but today Rafinha came off the bench, non-existent either. And then one last thing I want to say about Ferran Torres. I think today for a match, kind of confirms what I said last time. Against Atletico Madrid, Ferran Torres scored the only goal, the winning goal, the goal that gave us a qualification to the final. But I said, I don't think Ferran Torres is a player that should be starting because he can only give you maybe 20, 30 minutes of good football and not 60 or 90 minutes. And I think today we saw it again. He started not really non-existent. I think Ferran Torres should remain an option off the bench, come off the last 20, 30 minutes, and he can score you a goal. And boom. Unfortunately, there are players like that. We've had Luke de Jong, for example. He was a great player to come off the bench the last minute, score a goal. Great. Some players are good at that. Some players are not. Ferran Torres looks like he's more of a player to come off the bench. But anyways, overall, not a good performance by Barcelona after Real Betis' goal. We squandered a big opportunity to put an end to this La Liga title race. However, silver lining, we still got a point, okay? We did not lose. We still got a point. And every point counts. With only 8 matches left in La Liga, every point counts. We're now 4 points ahead of Real Madrid. I think it would have been nice to have been 6 points ahead, but another point is another point. So we cannot complain too much. Also, another silver lining. If there was one match to drop points, I think this would have been it. Because after all, this is Real Betis. They've been doing spectacularly well. I think what Pellegrini is doing with Real Betis is amazing. He's building a team with an identity. He's building a team with a system of play, with the incorporation of, why am I blanking on his name? The Brazilian guy, completely blanking on his name. With his incorporation, I think Real Betis have become a lot more dangerous. They haven't suffered any defeats in the last 5 matches. I think they're fighting for European spots. And if this was a match to drop points, I think I'd rather do it against Real Betis than against Leganés or some bottom of the table team, right? But it is what it is. One more thing, Fermín López. Fermín López, to me, best player today on the squad coming off the bench. I think Fermín López is making a clear statement to Hansi Flick. I want to be a starter because once again, Fermín López had a really great match. Gabi, excellent match for people who wonder what does Gabi have to offer. Well, you saw it today. Technical ability, passing, good runs from the second line, scoring if he has the opportunity, tracking back to defend. That's what Gabi offers you. Pretty much a lot of aggressiveness, a lot of tactical ability, and just the ability to be able to cover so much ground. So I think Gabi and Fermín López, to me, were the 2 best players today. And that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. I got to pack. I got to head to the airport because, I got a few more hours. I might buy some stuff. But I got to head back to the airport. I'm flying back home again tomorrow. I'll be back in my YouTube studio. So back to our regularly scheduled videos and podcasts. Anyways, let me know you guys' thoughts about the match today. Do you think it was a squandered opportunity? Are you still happy because Barcelona still got a point and now we're 4 points instead of 3 points ahead of Real Madrid? Let me know in the comment section. And I'll make sure to read all of your comments. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Visca Barça.